Hello, friends, and welcome back to Much Review About Nothing. Congratulations, Hollywood. You made Wonder Woman a rapist. On this podcast, we review a movie we haven't seen through cultural osmosis and what we can find on the internet. I'm your host, Billy Greer.
And we're your co-hosts, Jake Greer and
Luke Greer. Although I have died, but Billy has wished me back with the monkey's paw. I just possessed someone.
Let's don't watch a movie. Okay, sorry to start off our first podcast of 2021 with a little cold water on the face, but I could not resist.
You know, I was thinking before we started, are we going to touch on it? I mean, I figured we were going to touch on it. I didn't know how blatant we were going to be.
Very blunt.
But
There's no getting around it. I don't know how else to convey what occurs. We're going to get into it.
Let's shelve it for now.
Yeah, it's a little teaser for you for the rest of the episode.
We got to throw that hook out.
Yeah, officially go into introspection and inspection. And not much has changed other than our commitment to you guys and our love for you, our viewers.
We're in this together.
Yes, we're togetherness.
Silence, brand.
We're together. Please go to our Patreon.
Yeah.
We're together.
Show
be a
your
part
support.
of our family.
Be a part of our community and promote community values.
Yes.
Your support is monetary. Our support is empty words on a podcast.
Exactly.
But, I mean, I just want to say, welcome back. We're kind of, I guess we're going to have to shake off the cobwebs and the rust. We've been out for a few weeks, but I don't know. I'm eager to get back into it. I'm excited.
Me too.
I'm hoping 2021 is going to be a good year for a podcast, if literally nothing else.
I think so. You've been working hard getting all the videos on YouTube, and we believe YouTube's going to be the future of the internet and all that. It's
our podcast at least.
I think people are going to be watching YouTube for. It's going to start getting bigger. It's a bit of a small platform now.
What is this, like 2009? And we're like, wow, this thing is really taking off.
We're going to be starting our gaming channel.
Yeah.
We're going to do animations.
And then reactions. We might set up a kids channel here and there.
We'll do animations of us reacting to our own gaming channels as we eat weird food and play with Play-Doh? I don't know.
And we're all dressed as pregnant Elsa. You gotta have that in there for some reason.
Pregnant Elsa gaming. I love it.
We're joking, but that would honestly probably work.
Yeah, I mean...
Although we may have missed the bubble on that.
In all seriousness, the kid stuff is no longer profitable because those can no longer run ads and stuff.
Oh, that's true.
So it's kind of dead.
Well, ours is sarcastic and ironic.
I guess.
I know, but if you get automated into being a kid's channel or a kid's video, yeah.
We'll just throw in a couple of swears, play some violent video games, do a little bit, teasing,
for all of YouTube's ills, crippling those horrendous kids channels, I gotta give them a thumbs up for that one, I guess.
Yeah,
I can't autoplay movies now when it's a certain song.
The other problem is that things that are not kids at all, get taken in. So it's not.
Well, it's never perfect.
YouTube is never perfect, but we think it'll probably be a good way to get an audience.
Yeah, so we're going to try to grow the podcast by putting it on YouTube, and for everyone currently listening, it may be easier for you to listen to it on YouTube. I don't know. But
diversifying our entertainment portfolio.
Yeah, as of this recording, I've got about 25, 20, I can't remember exactly. There's a good handful up now.
Okay.
But yeah, just a little info on what we've been up to. I guess we can get into the movie.
Yes.
As I alluded to.
So
Wonder Woman 1984.
Yes.
The much awaited sequel to the original Wonder Woman movie.
It's glad to see George Orwell creating more works after his death.
Yeah.
So I think before we step into 1984, let's go back to the first one.
Right.
Because when we saw it in theaters, it was okay.
Yeah.
Thinking back on it, there was a lot of things I disliked, and it's kind of a mediocre movie, in my opinion.
Well, that's the thing. Everyone's the discourse now is like, wow, yeah, Wonder Woman. It was the best DC movie. It was.
I mean,
which is true.
Yeah.
But the problem is,
That's the thing.
it's not a high bar.
No, at that point, I was happy to get something that felt like a cogent film with a 3-act structure and like character development.
it's like watching a race. It's like watching a race of cripples and seeing one that dragged themselves to the finish line.
Okay, well that's a bit.
But yeah, like everyone's praising it as if it's some monument to filmmaking, when by all accounts it wasn't even as good as like some of the worst Marvel movies.
Yeah.
It was just more competent than the other DC movies.
Yeah, that's just it. We reward mediocrity now.
Well, it's just because when you come off of Suicide Squad, Justice League, which I think is one of the worst, because it's not...
Justice League is worse than Suicide Squad.
I think Justice League is one of the worst movies ever, because it is one of the most boring movies I have ever seen.
Like I said, it doesn't exist.
It's like it's like either comparable to Hands of Manos or like worse than Hands of Manos somehow.
At least Hands of Manos has Torgo. So that gets the point.
I mean, I just want to say I'm glad I didn't watch it.
Well, I've said this before on other podcasts, but having not watched it is equal to having watched it. That's how little of an impact it had.
Well, I'm glad I got to watch it.
Because afterwards, I forgot I had watched it. I forgot it existed.
We could probably do a podcast on it.
It's a hole in the fabric of reality.
I said this before. Suicide Squad, which I have not watched to this day, left a bigger impact on me than Justice League.
A movie you haven't seen has been more impactful than a movie you have seen.
Yes.
Which is fair, because Suicide Squad is more interesting than Justice League, even though I probably hate it more, because it's the Spencer's gift of movies. And then Batman v Superman tricked me into thinking it was a good movie because it had one of the best Batman scenes. Like, I gotta give credit where credit is due. Honestly, one of the best Batman scenes of him fighting thugs in a movie.
Yeah, it was good.
It was so good, I forgot there was like 2 hours of just like brooding garbage and some good cinematography. I'll give Zack Snyder, props. He does have some good shots.
Yeah, I mean that's Zack Snyder though. He's got some good shots.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing about Batman v Superman for me is what makes it extra sad for me is that was the first time that poor Bill Finger got his name officially displayed next to Bob Kane after so many years, and it has to be Batman v Superman.
Which I'll admit, I enjoyed it at the time until I realized I had been bamboozled.
And we watched it again. We watched the Snyder cut that we watched or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched that and it didn't help. It's
just
really
longer.
Yeah, it's just longer. It doesn't help.
And now everyone's excited for the Snyder cut of the Justice League, which I feel like it's going to be longer in black and white. I can only see black and white photos. Maybe that's just what they're showing currently.
I know I just noticed something. That time period of movies we watched was like 2015 to like 2019, I guess.
Yeah.
The movies seem to be rather based on deception.
Yeah.
Like just tricking you the first time, then you're like, wait a second, that wasn't a good movie.
Yeah, it's like Godzilla King of the Monsters, coming out of the theater. I was like, that was a good movie. Looking back on it. And it had a lot of problems. That's the thing.
It was all surface level. Like, I enjoyed seeing giant monsters. I just wish I had been able to see them fighting more and not the girl from Stranger Things screaming and dodging giant toes. That would have been preferable. But yeah, I feel like that was kind of our awakening period. We were like growing up in a way. Our tastes were evolving. We were like, wait a minute. Not everything Hollywood puts out is good.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of garbage. Yeah. And when you get past kind of the nostalgia and like the sort of the window dressing of the things you love, like there's like nothing. You poke it and it's just a flat piece of paper and your finger goes through to the other side. There's nothing of substance there. But yeah, like Wonder Woman, I will give it credit. It was the best DC movie at the time.
Yes.
It is not a good movie.
No.
In quotes. It's good enough. And the ending is just a cluster bomb of David Thewlis with his head in CGI gunk.
And like the biggest problem is that like the Wonder Woman movies, and now we're going to extend into this movie, they always like want to have some sort of message. And they always like present this message, and it's like, they're not all evil, they're not all bad, and then just like or whatever, and then they fall right on their face because they've terribly executed everything. Yeah. Because in Wonder Woman the original, they were just flat out evil. and that was it. There was
You
nothing.
mean the main villains?
Yeah, there was nothing deeper than that, basically.
Maybe it's trying to say humanity as a whole
I
was
guess.
worth saving, I guess.
I guess, but again, it falls right on its face because it executed its message terribly.
Even though her enemies in that film were a few short years from becoming the Nazis.
Yeah.
I don't even know why they put it in World War One. Wonder Woman is World War Two.
Yeah.
Because
It's overdone.
shortly before that, Captain America had come out, and they didn't want to just literally rip it off verbatim.
That's just kind of the comic, you know?
And two, the whole humanity is worth saving. Does it resonate as well in World War II? Is some of the worst?
But then don't have your enemies become Nazis. You know, don't do that. Have your enemies be a bit more nuanced. You know,
Yeah,
but it's, you know.
I mean, it just is that whole like humanity. At the end of the day, can be saved, has all this potential, and I think that's what Wonder Woman embodies is mankind's potential for good. I guess every hero kind of does, but she's supposed to be kind of like. It's weird because Superman, I felt like, was kind of the moral center of humanity. He was supposed to be kind of our conscience, but it seems like in these movies they made Wonder Woman kind of the conscience of humanity. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but
because Superman in this universe is a nothing character.
Yeah,
he is a blank slate.
He's just there to promote Jesus imagery. That's it.
Yeah, basically.
So extending into this, like, we haven't watched the trailer yet, but I know the message is pretty, like, flat. Again, it has a problem with those. Do we want to watch the trailer now?
Sure. It's the first feeding time of 2021.
It's feeding time.
It's feeding time.
Now, I've never watched this trailer, I don't think. Chris Pine's the funny guy.
Well, yeah, I mean that's why they brought him back, to have someone to bounce off of, have some levity and whatever. But so yeah, I mean,
my first thought, I really like that Maxwell Lord guy. Take what you want. Greed and all that. I really get behind that in terms of the podcast.
But that Maxwell Lord character, and he's like this evil 80s businessman with like real distinctive hair, and I just, for the life of me, can't figure out. It's so nuanced and subtle. I can't possibly wrap my head around who the director, who Patty Jenkins was trying to create a real world parallel with. It's it escapes me.
It's the mystery of the ages.
Yeah. So like the trailer at first glance, that's an interesting thing about this movie. It just seems like an average sequel.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun, I guess.
Yeah, Marvel-esque, I guess is a good way to put it. The trailer, about the same as a lot of Marvel trailers that I've seen, kind of thing. There's a bit of action. Oh, here's a joke, and, here's the bad guy. And, things like that.
But I've inadvertently done a lot of research for this movie because I've seen many reviews. So
right.
This podcast, I like to say you're getting like a meal secondhand, a meal you're not getting a direct review, you're getting reviews of reviews. So it's like food that's already been chewed and digested, and we proudly offer it up to you.
I mean, that's all we do.
We watch The Watchmen, so to speak.
Yeah. So the movie, you think it would be relatively straightforward, but it has all these weird little decisions throughout that ultimately make it into this mess.
Which decision do we want to talk about first?
I mean,
the most glaring one?
Do we want to start at the beginning where the film is like 2 hours and 30 minutes long?
I know, it's a long time.
And it has two beginnings,
right?
Basically.
I did hear it had like a very long intro sequence.
Yeah, it's like 45 minutes or something ridiculous.
Because there's two. That. Because one is, we go back in the past and it's young Diana and she's competing against full-grown adults on Themyscira.
She's basically competing in Amazonian Quidditch.
Yeah, Amazonian obstacle course. It's like a decathlon where you do tons of things, only it's more
Ninja Warrior.
It's Ninja Warrior where they just do millions of different like activities and eventually someone wins. And that one, she cheats, she takes like a shortcut, and like the lesson of that is, truth is beautiful, like don't lie. Like, I think the whole movie's about, like, don't accept a convenient lie, I think is the point of the movie.
Yeah, or like, don't take shortcuts to what you want, or sometimes what you want isn't what you need, and it's kind of all those classic, because the movie revolves around just to skip
a wishing stone,
and
a very inconsistent wishing stone.
Yeah.
In terms of plot, I've noticed when you get to the MacGuffin that is a wishing stone, you've run out of ideas. You're in the hole.
And you're really opening yourself up for a lot of issues.
It's like Picard or whatever. They eventually got a wishing MacGuffin, didn't they?
They did, and Picard, the new series.
Didn't they?
I know they get some sort of like technological device that can basically do anything you tell it to.
Yeah, basically a wishing device.
Okay, that's
like,
I was curious if that's what you meant.
Yeah, where you have this powerful MacGuffin that can literally do anything.
Yeah.
And I guess this one's different because it has a price attached to it.
I don't really see
But the price is so vague.
It's not like a contract.
It's like half a monkey's paw.
Yeah.
So, like, her wish, from what I understand, to get Steve back takes her powers away.
Right.
Right?
Right. Let's go back because you're talking about but yeah, it's about wishes. So first intro number 1,
yes.
Obstacle course where she learns the value of being truthful.
Okay.
Second opening is kind of like your hero introduction. This is the hero, this is their powers. She stops a mall robbery, which I feel like if you're going to rob someplace, a mall is that a good place to rob? I don't know.
I feel like they kind of took a lot from Paul Blart Mall Cop, and that really rubs me the wrong way. I think that's a con.
It was weird when Wonder Woman came up on a Segway and did a pratfall. I was curious, like, don't take influences from, like, mostly poorly received. Like, I mean, the Paul Blart movies did well financially, but, like, maybe don't take influences from poorly critically received movies.
Yeah, I think that's a con that, I took,
Too much Paul Blart influence, I would say.
Yeah, and when we get to reviews, we're going to look at more influences or things they stole, really. Like, they're just stealing from other movies, and it's not really working to make a cohesive movie.
I wonder if there'll ever be a Mall Cop cinematic universe.
If Adam Sandler has his way, there will be. He is involved in those, right? They aren't just...
Well...
Is it his production company, I think?
Yeah, because they're all friends or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. But, okay, so that's the second intro, and they're both long. Like, I don't understand. I get, like, you need that first one if you're going to set up the themes of the movie. But, like, why not just have it be, like, 5 minutes? She enters the race. We see a couple of events. She cheats. The end. It doesn't need to be, what is it, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes? It's like as long as, like, the beginning of most
like a
movies.
15-minute intro for something so benign.
You have it 5 minutes. You get in, you get out. You have your points. I think people like Themyscira, so, like, we'll just give them some, like, glory shots, and it went on too long.
It's just a very inefficient use of time and resources.
Yeah, you just 5 minutes, you bleed into your hero intro of Wonder Woman saving the day, which is a good place to start. But at the same time, it contradicts the other movies where she has been, like, in hiding for a century.
Also contradicts, like, I don't think she was being trained at the time, like when she was a young child. Like, they weren't training her or something like that.
Yeah, unless they just, like, hey, just...
So
join. We hope you can do it. I mean, I don't know why she ever thought she could win without cheating.
Was it actual cheating, or did she just take a shortcut that was dishonorable?
I guess because, like, a shortcut is not inherently a bad thing. If it's not,
it depends on the rules.
Yeah, but sometimes a shortcut in life can make your life easier.
Right.
I think Red Letter Media pointed that out.
Yeah, the shortcut, like in children's media, I think there was a storybook, and it had, what were those dragons called? Like the two kids and the
Dragon Tales.
Yeah, Dragon Tales. There was a book on that,
which is an isekai, kind of.
It is,
but they can go back and forth.
And they weren't hit by a truck.
And the book,
they didn't need an isekai truck.
It was a children's book a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Basically about, like, they wanted to get to an event, so they took a shortcut and it led it to be longer.
Well, that's another lesson entirely that...
Right, but so basically the way it goes is that if you take a shortcut...
Yeah.
Did it make it shorter? Yes, then it was a good shortcut.
Yeah.
No, it was a bad shortcut, thus you should not have taken the shortcut.
Yeah.
But you would not have known if the shortcut was good or bad until you had taken it.
Yeah.
So,
But that's the thing. This is like this is literally children's book level of a lesson. I mean, I know it's a mainstream movie, and you need the idiots in the back who aren't paying attention to like get the point. But like, this much time does not need to be spent on something we learned from Dragon Tales. Okay, I mean.
What if there was a crossover with Dragon Tales and Wonder Woman?
Well, I mean, yes.
Yes, and. Yes, and we're moving on.
All right.
But like, I feel like they gave... Patty Jenkins like has talked about how she went to bat for both intros. And I like to say, don't have them, but shorten one, because the only point of it is that you should be truthful, which I learned when I was 5 years old, if not before then.
So was this like a George Lucas situation where like Patty wanted to make a kids movie and they wouldn't really let her, you know, and so she's like, oh, I'm gonna make Wonder Woman 84 a kids movie, kind of.
I just think they couldn't get her to stop making movies. She was kind of like, she had one huge movie, the critically acclaimed Monster, which is about the female serial killer Eileen Wuornos, and then after that, Wonder Woman was her next big thing. Mm-hmm. So she hadn't had much of a, track record, and I think she got all this like, I'm finally here, I have this power, I will make more movies than there's ever been made before.
People are trying to hold her down. Patty Jenkins, no, you already have 2 intros, we don't need another.
That's the thing, that's what I want to talk about. There's originally like 6 intros. So the second act was like, I don't know, it went on for an entire day. It would take like a whole
24
day.
hours.
Yeah, it was like a 24-hour second act. And then she was planning on to continue making the third act in perpetuity.
Right.
Where it just kept on going in little episodal increments. But they finally were able to wrangle her down. That's why they gave her 2. They're like, okay, fine, you make this an actual movie someone can watch in 2 hours. We'll give you 2 intros. And I think that was ultimately...
2 intro. Movie better with 2 intro. No, Tommy, no.
So I think it was a con that Patty Jenkins was trying to make the longest movie ever conceived.
Yeah. She was trying to go for the record.
Which I feel like there's a movie which is like hundreds of hours long, which is like a static shot of a building, like an experimental thing.
Oh.
So she's got some stiff competition, but I think that's what she had her sight on.
Reminds me of, I can't remember where it is, but it's a piece of music that is being played that is the slowest music ever, and like notes change every I'd
also say shorten those intros. That's my advice.
What if it was just a movie with nothing but intros? That'd be interesting.
Well, you're in luck. It's called Suicide Squad.
You're right. I've already seen it.
Yeah. So basically, it's ASLSP, which means as slow as possible. It started in 2001. It's scheduled to have a duration of 639 years.
They're still playing it?
Yeah, it's still going on.
What, do they like come in shifts and like...
No, it's automatic.
Oh, okay.
You have to do it like that.
That reminds me of that movie that was put in the time capsule. I think Robert Rodriguez directed it, and it's only going to come out in 100 years from when it was first put in the time capsule. It was
we talked about it, yeah.
It's like a promotional event for some kind of alcohol that I can't remember now, and just from what the small clips they showed, it looked terrible. It had John Malkovich in it, I think.
When they do the time capsule,
I don't remember. It was a few years ago. I think we already made this joke, but I'm just waiting for it to come out, and it's terrible, and nobody watched it. They're like, oh yeah, that thing is finally here.
I'm still waiting for When the Clowns Cried to come out.
I know, that never came out. The Day the Clown Cried?
Yeah.
With Jerry Lewis, I think. Yeah, about the clown. It's probably even too dark for our podcast. Anyways, look up The Day the Clown Cried.
I can't even remember.
It's a famous movie that has never come out. It was supposed to. It was supposed to come out when he died, I think, but they reneged, so...
Aw, cowards.
Yeah, I've yet to see it. Okay, so yeah, 2 intros, kind of a big issue. I feel like if they had shortened it, it would have been much better. But as it stands, kind of a little bit too much fat on the bone.
Yeah, because it's interesting because, Patty Jenkins, she wanted to make more movie, whereas, like, previously we run into the problem where people have made less movies where there's no second act.
Yeah.
And there's barely a third at times.
Like Venom.
Yeah.
Venom was a self-challenge where the director trying to make as little movie as possible and still make a ton of money.
I got whiplash.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so they're fighting on the rocket. It's the second act, and it ends. I'm like, okay.
I always bring up Venom just because it's our poster child.
Because I can't think of another movie that did that, honestly.
We ran into another one. I can't remember which one it was, but
Probably, I have to go back.
But the Chinese love Venom.
Everybody loved Venom, apparently.
Yeah,
I guess it just shows how charismatic Tom Hardy is, even when they don't give him much direction.
Yeah.
He was trying. He was really trying. I don't know a lot of times what he was doing, but for me, Tom Hardy is always engaging. He's kind of the Nicolas Cage. He's like Nicolas Cage if he's more consistently good, I guess. And not like... Because Nicolas Cage, even when he's bad, he's engaging, but the performance is not always great.
no.
But anyway, we're getting off track. First podcast of 2021. We're playing some of the hits with our references, and we're a little rambly, but let's get this carriage back on the path here. That's a saying people say, right? Let's get this train back on the rails.
Well, the carriage back on the path. I think that's a good saying. That's a much review about nothing. Homegrown saying.
Yeah, it's Billy's so bad at talking he can't remember basic sayings and idioms is what that's called. So moving on to the plot, basically. I mean, there is sort of
theory.
Yeah,
At least a simulation of one.
So in what has become a symbol of feminism, Wonder Woman is still pining for a man she met decades
60
ago.
Years ago.
60 years ago, and has been unable to move on.
You know, if you take it, she is immortal.
Yeah.
So, if you're immortal, either everything is more impactful in terms of time, or nothing is impactful in terms of time. Which is a fair reading of that. Of like, you know, because she's immortal, you know, one day is 60 years and 60 years is one day kind of thing. I get that.
Which I don't have a problem with personally. Right. I just feel like that should be a thing that would be offending a lot of people who see her as like the symbol of the strong, independent woman. But, you know, to me, narratively, it's like the love across time, you know, as Mike Stacklasa put it.
Yeah.
You know, the love that can never be because one got blown up in an airplane, you know.
Yeah.
So she's pining for him. And I still don't know how the wishing stone gets into this movie, but apparently it does. And Maxwell Lord, a failing businessman...
He's an oil tycoon.
Yeah, who has no correlation to any prominent individuals in real life with very distinctive hair, who made a lot of their fortune in the 80s. No connection whatsoever, so don't even think about it.
What are you talking about, Billy?
I don't know. I keep going off on that tangent.
We can't figure out that it's so subtle.
Yeah, he gets a hold of the stone, and he wishes to be the wishing stone.
I think eventually, yeah.
I wish for a million wishes.
So it gets absorbed into him, and then he goes around granting wishes, which throws the world into chaos.
Okay, it's a bit weird.
Yeah. And I don't know how this unfolds exactly, but then Diana's going to stop him, and I guess she
somehow got the wishing stone first?
Originally, because I feel like the Kristen Wiig, Cheetah,
yeah, she gets it eventually as well.
Yeah.
So I think it goes...
She wishes to be like Diana, gets basically her powers. She beats up someone who is trying to molest her, so to speak, and that's considered a bad thing.
What? Oh, the fact is, she attacked someone who was coming after her.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, that's a bad thing. It's like, oh, okay.
Again, mixed messages all throughout, basically. I mean, you could have done... So let's go back to the first one.
Yeah.
Diana, she has the wishing stone.
Right.
She wants Chris Pine back.
Yeah, this is, to me, the biggest and most glaring issue with the film that could have been fixed so easily. But I'll let you...
So, she has the wishing stone. Uh-huh. She wants Chris Pine back.
Mm-hmm. Who doesn't want Chris Pine back?
She makes the wish. She loses her powers. Chris Pine doesn't come back. Instead, Chris Pine, his soul, basically takes over a random stranger who nobody knows. Like, his title or name of the credits is Handsome Guy.
Yeah.
He takes him over, possesses him, controls him.
Right.
So now... It's just he's a ghost now who's taken over this body.
Yeah.
So he and Diana
it's implied that they get down and dirty,
And so
that
what we
they're in
have
bed
here-
together at some point. So they've taken a man against his will, and she's had sex with him. How did no one? People like it goes back to that thing. So many people saw this movie in production. So many people saw the writing decisions, and did not see an issue with that whatsoever. Not that that he was turned into well, I can't even say it, but
No.
that he's also put in harm's way many times.
Yeah, so...
Not to mention he's been plucked out of his life, and his family has no idea where he is now.
Yeah, it's just complete disregard for this man.
And they never even mention him until like the end when he's like,
he doesn't have the dignity of a name.
No, yeah.
This is just disgusting.
I mean,
So Cod, Cod, what's a good way to put it? Justice for handsome guy.
I know.
You know,
he got me too.
Yeah.
you know, we demand justice for handsome guy. Any of us could have been handsome guys. We're all handsome
Maybe
guys,
that
right?
is his name.
I mean, I don't know what he remembers, but I feel like personally,
Doesn't matter.
if the worst thing that happened to me was that I got with Gal Gadot, I guess ultimately, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it would be a little terrifying and awful, but...
Bill, you're getting me too. Get out of here. You're not part of us anymore. You can't be part of justice for handsome
There
guy.
is some consolation, I will say. That's all I'll say at this point.
I don't even want to rebut that because I'm afraid we'll have to bleep it out.
But,
Hashtag, but no.
So, our
agree.
hero, everybody.
I mean, I don't care if you say you enjoy it. It's still just as bad because that's where all the trauma comes from.
Yeah, it's called Stockholm Syndrome and worse. So, our hero, everybody.
Rapist.
I don't know how else... What baffles me is there is no need for
Right,
this.
there was no need for
it. It is a magical rock that can do literally anything.
It could have plucked him from his timeline,
Yeah.
brought him forward.
Yeah.
That's it.
People were saying it can materialize border walls and castles and everything
Yeah.
else like that, but no, it can't materialize a man.
Yeah,
No.
only a soul.
This was like almost intentional.
Do you think maybe Patty has like a fetish and...
I don't know. We're steering into
Yeah,
dangerous
we're steering into
territory.
dangerous territory. And I have a theory that the person who's behind all the DC movies is just the Joker. He's the Mark Hamill Joker. You know, he comes into, you know, he's on a unicycle, you know, he rolls into the production meeting. Anybody who says something, you know, he gasses them, you know, and just like, you know, just does all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, and
You know, that's the only theory I
he's
have.
the one giving like script advice.
Yeah.
He's the script. Their script doctor is literally the Joker.
Yeah.
It's Jared Leto
Yeah, he
pretending
still
he's
thinks
the
he's
Joker.
the Joker.
Yeah, and they just give him scripts. Cons, Jared Leto, script doctor.
Because I feel like you'd have to be like an insane person to have some of these things. Let's talk about the next one. The next Wisher.
This is an
Yeah.
awful movie.
So
That's the thing. It seems like when you watch that trailer, like, oh, good fun
Yeah,
time.
I know.
Yeah.
Chris Pine's back.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's stolen the body of another man, but hey.
And Gal Gadot is using it as a boy toy for her own pleasures. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, ugh.
So Kristen Wiig.
Kristen Wiig, the poor lost soul bereft in major mainstream movies. I like Kristen Wiig. I don't think she needs to be in like these Ghostbusters and these superhero movies. I feel like her talents lie on the more indie side. Or in my opinion, her best role, Lola Bunny in the Looney Tunes show, which she has not topped for me yet. And which I think is sad is anytime anyone brings up Kristen Wiig, it's like, oh, I like Kristen Wiig. She was great in Bridesmaids, which came out years ago.
She can't catch a good movie.
No,
She's
no.
always in these. She's always in these hokey movies. I don't get it.
Well, that's what I say. I don't think her talents lie in these big dumb I mean, it's a terrible movie. No one's
Yeah.
going to come out unscathed.
Maybe
but
she needs a new agent.
maybe,
But yeah, so you know,
she's getting paid well.
she wishes to be like Wonder Woman.
Which is to
Yeah.
be a cheetah?
But
No,
she
no.
wishes to
No.
be an apex predator.
No, that's later.
Oh, that's later. So
That's
she makes
la-
another. You can get more than one wish.
I don't know, but she gets more than one wish. They brought it
Oh.
up. So basically, she wishes to be like Diana in some regard. I don't know how much, but
Yeah.
she becomes cool and suave
Yeah.
and angry and evil.
Yeah.
she later wishes to be an apex predator, which turns her into a cheetah. Now,
What?
a cheetah is not an apex
it's one
predator
of the weakest
at all.
predators.
They are, in fact, they run away from hyenas who are like on their prey.
They're just fast.
They're just fast.
And they just run down things till they're exhausted or just catch the weak
They can't
ones.
even do that. They sprint.
No, they
Oh, yeah,
sprint.
that's right. They sprint.
Their whole thing is
They burn out fast.
weak and fast,
Yeah.
but they can sprint, they can capture it,
Yeah.
but a lot of times they can't keep their own kill because
No.
literally any other predator
Can
that
take
wants to come up can take them.
Yeah.
Most herbivores can take them.
Yeah.
So like they have like
Kind of the losers of the animal kingdom.
Well, it
you know,
goes-
they get by. But they're not an apex predator at all. An apex
No.
predator is a tiger.
yeah.
You know.
She should have been the tiger. The tiger.
Well, the character is Cheetah.
Yeah.
But her backstory.
I know it doesn't make any sense.
It goes back to first draft scripts. That's what I feel like we got here.
Yep.
Because freaking ghost possessed. I'm going to edit that.
Bleep a lot of it.
Will be taken out of your film in a couple more rewrites when you realize the terrible implications of what you've written.
Once somebody else other than Jared Leto Joker gets a look at it.
Yeah.
My favorite part of that was having the people try and white knight for her to try and explain why it wasn't so bad. It's just like
No, it's bad.
I know it just amused me.
It's
how
not
they-
as bad because she's a lady.
how they would twist themselves
But-
in knots to try and justify. I'm like, is
Yeah.
this the hill you want to die on?
If it was a male superhero, this movie would not have gotten off the ground.
No.
They would have noticed it
the
then.
studio would have been burnt to the ground.
Kind of bringing it back. Cons, cheetahs are not apex predators.
Yeah, I need more room for cons.
Yeah, honestly, there's gonna be a lot of cons to this one. I can't think of a pro off the top of my head yet.
The trailer music was kind of catchy.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's an 80s movie. There's no 80s music in the entire movie.
But we gotta give it a pro. Just
Good trailer, yeah.
it's good trailer music.
Isn't that, I think it's Blue Monday?
It's just catchy synth pop.
Yeah, I mean we love synth. I think we can
Yeah,
all
we
say
all love
we
synth.
like synth. You know, Hotline Miami.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of music. It's good. You know,
We
you
gotta
talk to
throw
it.
Wonder Woman a bone here.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's great. Honestly, it works a lot of times. It's a great action movie. You know, I think John Wick had some of it, and you know, songs like that.
Yeah.
You know, and so it works.
Maybe they should have done a reboot of the 1970s Wonder Woman TV show. She could have been like in a swimsuit and all that, like the scuba. I watched like a clip show of that.
Wait, what are you talking about?
There was a 1970s Wonder Woman.
Yeah, with
TV
Linda
show.
Carter, right?
Yeah, that was off the walls and 70s insane.
Well, maybe they're inspired by that
I-
because this movie's pretty
And I don't
awful.
think
it was campy.
I got any, but some people were like either comparing it or like bringing up John Wick in relation to this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't get it, but
I don't get it either,
Well,
but some people were.
it's funny you say that. I've often wondered if Gal Gadot, I think is it Gadot or Gadot? I know
I thought it was Gadot.
she pronounces the T. I've heard her say the T.
I thought it was Godot, but maybe
only
It
heard
should be Godot, but I think it's
But
pronounced
Are
Gadot.
we waiting for Godot?
But
Yeah.
I've always been, as we know from the podcast, I've been terrible with names. I'm awful with names.
Well, hers is confusing because a lot of people thought it was Godot, but she pronounced it, I want to say Godot.
Godot?
Like she pronounces the T.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
We can look it up. Let's go to the
Yeah.
internet.
But I've wondered if Gal Gadot is kind of the female Keanu Reeves, where she's not like particularly gifted as an actress, but she kind of has that likability factor.
Kind of a weird charm.
Yeah, that helps her coast above any deficiencies. And also, I don't know if she's actually any good or if she's just attractive and that like confuses people into thinking she's actually engaging. I don't know. I don't know how good of an actress or a movie star Gal Gadot really is because there's like a wall of psychic energy that's like befuddling everything.
So yeah, I think you're on it. It's not Godot and it's not Godot. It's right in between.
Godot, yeah,
Yeah,
she pronounces
Godot.
the T.
So
I'm waiting for Godot,
So it's right in the middle of how everybody says her name. Which
Yeah.
Is, you know, very,
which I've only realized recently because I used to call her Godot.
yeah. 60% of people do. So
Yeah.
that's a statistic you can get behind.
So,
Very
yeah, like
specific.
I think it was in the article.
It's kind of-
it was an example. It was a statistic.
it's kind of like that Community episode where they try to figure out if Nicolas Cage is a good actor or not.
Yeah.
Is Gal Gadot a good actor or not? I don't know. No,
Well,
but she is very pretty. So
I'm not a
covers
fan.
up a multitude of sins.
I'm not a fan of Gal. Gadot. Gadot.
Gadoot.
Gadot. Gadot.
Gal Gadot.
I don't know how to feel about her.
Yeah.
There's something there. Like I said, that likability factor.
Feel things about her.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough. There's that likability factor like Keanu Reeves, but I ultimately like Keanu Reeves more. I don't know. She's okay.
Yeah. I don't hate her.
Yeah.
There's no James Corden hate or anything like that. It's just not
Which
really,
I feel like they kind of have to. They were like, shoot, Chris Pine really helped anchor the first one. Unfortunately, we brutally murdered him in the airplane explosion. So I think that's why they went out of their way to bring him back, to bring in some levity and some genuine charisma.
Well, why not just handsome guy?
Because we don't know him.
Yeah,
No, but
who's handsome?
He doesn't deserve a name.
Yeah.
He's a meat puppet.
That's his name. It's handsome guy.
Oh, his first name is Handsome, last name Guy. I see. Yeah. Well, I mean,
I figured it out.
there should have been more something
guy.
about like her making a new relationship. Honestly, if you're going to do
That'd be too hard.
Yeah, I guess.
And her moving on? Yeah, you can't have that.
Yeah. Or
You'd have
just
to-
bring Chris Pine back.
That's also too hard.
Here, have an idea.
The technology, Billy, I have to explain. The technology wasn't there to actually bring Chris Pine back. I just summoned him through
He is a
handsome guy.
living man.
Yeah.
Who is an actor.
So Chris Pine, that was the actor name, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember what
He's
his name.
one of the Chris.
He's like Steve. But yeah, Chris Pine, he always needs a body, all right? He's a phantom or a soul.
Oh,
that they have
see.
to channel into actual bodies. That's why
So
they
in the
couldn't
first
do-
one, the Chris Pine we saw was another just generic.
I think he blew
model.
up.
Oh, they
might
killed
have,
the.
They might have
original
blown him up.
Because we talked about how Hollywood kills
yeah.
its actors.
But Chris Pine might have survived on as a soul. And they were
Right.
like, hey, if we sacrifice a goat, we can summon the soul of Chris Pine to possess another entity.
So, I mean, that I would kind of give them a pass then, because they had no choice but to write it. Well, they did. They could have pretended, but it's
Right,
like they
but
wrote in what actually happened in reality.
They thought it'd be a cool reference, but yeah, it didn't really work out.
No.
I think he became part of the Mist people. I think that's how you become one.
Well, no,
You die?
see, he's a wandering soul. It happens rarely. Then they had to bring a shaman on set,
Yeah.
the professional shaman. You'll see it in the credits. It says shaman, in the name.
I was wondering why I would see shamans occasionally.
Yeah, and so what that is that are channeling these wild actor souls, and so you can channel onto
make
normally
another
handsome
concept.
individuals.
I don't even know where to put that.
More of a
It's-
statement, really.
Yeah.
It's trivia.
Okay. Trivia.
Hollywood employs professional shamans to channel the spirits of dead actors.
Shamans and Chris Pine.
However, it's very specific. They
It's a
have
phantom.
they have to die on set in which their original body is completely destroyed. It's
I
very
see.
specific.
I see. It makes sense. Okay, well, I'm willing to give the movie a little more leeway because of that. Still don't believe it should have been written into the actual narrative.
It shouldn't have rotted into the movie like a
Don't
tumor.
make fun of me.
Festering wound.
Okay, so going back to Cheetah,
Yeah,
The apex predator.
yeah,
it's one of those deals where it's like they wanted to have Cheetah in the movie.
yes.
Her backstory does not make sense in the plot they picked. So they just square peg into a round hole, eyesed it,
Yeah.
and we get this botched thing where she wishes to be an apex predator.
I wish they had made the main bad guy that one Amazonian that wanted to kill all men with a plague. I think that would have been interesting.
Well, no, if they did that nowadays, she would be the hero of the film.
Oh, I
so
see.
they can't do that.
I remember that episode. It was a good Justice League episode.
Yeah. But because like originally her backstory is she does get some sort of magical artifact. She's like an archaeologist. It's almost like in Suicide Squad the witch or whatever her name. I forget the witch's name.
She has
but
multiple organs, doesn't she? I mean,
probably
depends.
that's the thing about comics is like
Yeah.
I could say one thing and then someone else could say something completely different. We'd both be correct because
I
it's
think
changed.
Either
I think-
artifact or scientist or
I think
whatever.
the original, she was just like a thief that dressed like a cheetah, something like that. I don't remember.
Okay, well the version because now she's become a cheetah woman.
Yeah.
And the version I heard is she's an archaeologist, finds this artifact, turns her into a cheetah. Simple, clean.
Good fun.
It's goofy, but it works.
It's like a cheetah god.
Yeah, it might have been a cheetah god or something like that.
And then it was like, and then there was another one where she's like, it's like science gonna rot. It's just all over.
It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it's-
Both of those explain why she's a cheetah. This one just feels like it's just been ramrodded in, shoved in as awkwardly as possible because we want Cheetah in the movie, even though she's only a cheetah for like 5 minutes at the end when she fights.
Does she actually lose it? Oh, yeah, because all the wishes go away, right?
Yeah, all the wishes go away.
Okay.
And the bad guys aren't even punished for the behavior.
They just leave.
Yeah, they just leave.
Well, Billy, that's because the wishing stone was the evil thing all along.
Well, I feel like Maxwell Lord, who has no connection to anyone in real life, was the bad guy.
He's also misunderstood.
Yeah.
Everyone's misunderstood in that
I get
movie.
it. You can be misunderstood and also be wrong and deserving of punishment.
No, Billy. if they got punishment, that would mean that they were wrong or something.
I know. Well, what is with the Wonder Woman movies where she has to forgive everyone?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. My thing is,
I'm gonna put cons,
if you
bad
wanted
guys
to
not
do this
punished.
plot line, all you have to do is make Cheetah and Maxwell Lord like secondary villains and have an actual intelligent trickster wishing granting person or god who's behind everything. Then you can have it where, well, they didn't have much choice. They were being controlled and manipulated by this greater evil, which is a lot more interesting than magic wishing stone, because then the twists would actually because he's manipulating the twists, and so it makes a lot more sense why things would go awry.
I wonder which Greek god we could use. Maybe Dionysius?
She's gonna fight every Greek god.
It doesn't matter who it is. It could literally just be
Hermes.
new character.
Hermes is just the messenger.
I know.
He's
He's
like
the
the
only one.
chillest of them all.
Yeah.
Loki.
Yeah, freaking. Hey, it's
Bring
public
him
domain.
in,
Or like Red Letter Media said, have Maxwell Lord. He uses the wishes to gain wealth and build technology and become like a Lex Luthor and try to take over the world. And then you could have like Cheetah maybe be one of his science officers, and she gets cheetahized.
Yeah.
She turns to Chester Cheetah due to a horrible
Dangerously cheesy.
Cheetos accident and becomes the cheetah. I don't know. There's angles here.
She was bitten by a radioactive cheetah.
Or just have her be completely independent.
Yeah.
She's an archaeologist, gets turned into a cheetah. Maxwell Lord hears about her, wants to hire her as muscle. These are goofy comic book movies.
Yeah. But they went campy and they went corny in other directions that
it's just
we don't
so-
even need. Why?
It's just not clean and simple and concise. It's
Simple
just like,
and clean?
yeah, simple and clean is the way that they're not making the movie tonight. And it's very hard to let it go. And maybe I'm splitting hairs because I'm positing dumb ways for this to come about, but I don't know. It just, there's too many like little irritating aspects. Like she wishes to be an apex predator, which is not a thing anyone would ever wish. And then she turns into a cheetah, because she was wearing a cheetah print jacket, so the wish knew that's what
She likes
wanted.
cheetah print.
Yeah.
She likes
so
cheetahs.
The wish factored that in.
This just gets dumber each time I hear it. Each iteration.
It's just too much, I guess, is the issue here. It's too much, and it's all just vague. That's the thing. It's too vague and ambiguous.
Yeah.
It's not concrete. This is this. This is this. This is this. This is, like comics are beloved because they're simple and concrete. This person had this happen. They became this. They're evil. They fight the good guy.
Yeah.
It's not all this. We gotta like fit this into my stupid wish plot. So everyone has all these dumb things they're doing to fit in with the tenuous framework I've constructed.
And the other side of that is that you can have more complicated ideas and messages inside your superhero movie. That's fine. It's just have your base concrete and solid before you add on something more complex or more interesting ideas.
Yeah, I guess.
So
I don't know. Maybe my complaints are dumb. It's just there's nothing. There's nowhere for me to like hang my hat, so to speak. There's no like, okay, I get this, and this happened because of this, and they're doing this. It's always like, well,
just
why
arbitrary.
did that happen? Because of, it's like, why did getting the wish stone inside him give him wind powers too? At the end, he's able to blow back Wonder Woman, and like I guess it's just the power coming out of him.
Sure.
But like in reality, he should have no like threat level whatsoever because he's just a dude that can now give you wishes.
I don't know how it gives him power.
Yeah, he just kind of like tricks people into giving him what he wants by tricking them into making a wish.
It's a lot more complicated than it has to be.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we say we want simple. I'm not against complicated, but like I said, it's got to be more concrete. I got to know the stakes. I got to know why things within this universe are operating this way.
Yeah, otherwise you don't care.
Yeah. And I guess if the movie was better, I would be able to forgive all these little details of this film I have not watched.
Right.
But
Well, I mean, I wouldn't forgive the big major details we have concerning a certain handsome guy.
well, that's never going to play correctly.
Well, I think we've gone quite a long time, and I think it's time to move on to rando reviews. Get some fresh ideas in here.
Okay.
Then we're going to start out with Cassie Banks.
Wait, hang on a second.
Oh, wait. Did you have anything?
Well, I was going to bring up...
Let's do that first.
I don't have like an article, but it was another point where she just randomly turns the jet she gets into invisible.
Oh, yeah.
Wonder Woman has never had this... I know she has an invisible jet.
Okay, that is... okay. Yes, you can reference it back. You can bring it back as long as it makes sense. But that was like a holdover from like that old cartoon, right? Was it ever in the original comics that she has an invisible jet?
I don't know. I thought it was
all I know is that they didn't want to draw it.
Yeah,
Why?
I thought that was the thing. They didn't want to draw her a jet, so like, oh, it's invisible.
Why does she
The thing is
have
they
a
just-
jet?
But the thing is, they just sit there
Well,
in midair, not being invisible themselves.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. She needs to fly, I think, to Africa or wherever Maxwell Lord is at the time. So she works at the Smithsonian. So they get in this like experimental jet they have at the museum, which
That's
for some
filled
reason
with
they keep fueled up and primed for flying on the lot. And Chris Pine, who has only flown World War I era planes, can somehow fly this jet. And they're in it. It's not even her jet. And I appreciate the allusion to this kind of goofier aspect.
Yeah.
But she's just like, you know what? It's just like an afterthought. She's like flying. You know what, Chris Pine? My dad, he could do magic. I think I might possibly also be able to. And she rubs her hands together and turns the jet invisible.
Okay, good.
It's all this like weird lead in, and it's like never brought up before that point, just so they can have this reference to the goofy invisible jet in the original cartoon.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I appreciate the thought, but like, you didn't need to do that.
The plot that
Okay,
counts.
here we go. Wonder Woman's invisible jet first appeared in Sensation Comics #1, January 1942.
Wow, okay. So
Look,
it's an
I'm not
original.
against having an invisible jet. It just feels like they're like, shoot, man, I want to have the invisible jet in this movie. What if she can now turn things invisible, even though she's never been able to do that before, and it's not her powers, and that's not why her jet's invisible, I'm assuming. I thought she just had one. So
Apparently she in the original story, her mom was basically like, hey, we had this invisible jet. It's in 3 pieces. Go find the 3 pieces and
Put it
assemble it.
together.
And another one is where Athena turned Pegasus into the invisible jet.
Okay,
So
whoa.
it gets even weirder.
Sorry, Pegasus. I guess you're just dead. You're an inanimate object now. But why couldn't the experimental jet have turned invisible? And it would have been... Why does it have to be this like weird, like shoehorned in, I can do magic that my dad taught me?
How about I stole an invisible jet from like Maxwell Lord or something?
Sure. I mean, there's other... That's the thing. There's so many... It's not what they've done. It's that there's so many better ways that could have been done where I don't have to question every aspect of it.
Well, again, going back to Jared Leto, script advisor.
I
right?
guess that's where it all comes... It boils down to that, I guess.
All right.
Okay, let's
let's
move
officially
on.
move on to. We're gonna start with Cassie Banks. Get 5 stars out of 5. Wonder Woman, 1984, was a beautiful tale about our own personal morals and how easily they can be corrupted by greed and selfishness.
What? Wanting to see your dead boyfriend is greed and selfishness?
I guess
No,
so.
I think I'm more referring to our villains.
Oh, okay.
Not the hero, who is perfectly good in every way. No doubt there will be people out there so caught up in their own greed and selfishness, they'll probably gaslight someone on their way out of the theater for someone pointing out their selfishness and greed. But it just goes to prove the movie's point. The mid-'80s were the beginning of the greed agenda, so this movie was perfectly set in time. There were cool new Wonder Woman things she can do now in the film and a mid-end credit scene that must not be missed. If you're a true Wonder Woman fan, Gal Gadot and
Dote, whatever.
Gadot Gadot.
She's the goat.
Gal Gadot. Gal the Dot and Pedro Pascal gave especially good performances this time around. I'll be taking advantage of the fact I can watch it several times on HBO Max at home before that ends. Smiley face.
The idea that you're so insecure that Wonder Woman 1984 would make you feel bad about your personal greed.
Yeah, or that you went to the theaters with someone. This is how I took it.
Okay.
And you watched the movie and you like, my friend, he's got a lot of greed and selfishness. And you're like, you've got a lot of greed and selfishness. He's like, no, I don't. It's just like, what?
This movie, it's turning friends against one another. It will start the communist revolution.
That's kind of a con, though. It causes you to see greed and selfishness in everyone else.
As a con or
It's a pro con.
pro con?
All right, then we have, aptly enough, John Maxwell. So, he's familiar. 5 out of 5 stars. All haters, this is familiar by the way, all haters can drink water from the pit, the gully, or better yet, some volcano molten lava.
There's no water there.
This is by far an improvement from Wonder Woman 1. Patty Jenkins did an A-class job. Gal Gadot and co-star struck gold. I can't wait for Wonder Woman 3. I can't wait for World War 3, guys.
I can't either.
Wonder Woman 3.
Let's get it over with.
ZSJL, Aquaman 2, The Flash, Matt Reeves' Batman, etc. I'm not a DC or MCU diehard, but a comic book fan. These critics were paid to bash Zack Snyder and everything DC released. Had it not been for Zack Snyder, the world would not have the beauty and grace of Godot. Talents of Momoa, Affleck, Ezra, Cavill, etc. DCEU by far has been very impressive despite the biased, dumb, easily swayed / paid off critics. Great job, Gal Gadot. 9.6 out of 10.
Be an extra 10 in it for you if you really bash the Zack Snyder movies.
Maybe it's just not any good.
No, it can't possibly be that.
Reminded of
Critics are all biased.
Reminded kind of that Star Trek clip of Neelix. Well, maybe the movies are just any good.
All right, kind of moving on to IMDb. We have Steve Barley, 1 out of 10 stars. From Hero to Zero and just 2 Wonder Woman movies.
Zero to Hero.
No time flat. Well, it's reversed.
Hero to Zero and no time flat. All right. The first Wonder Woman film was absolutely brilliant and had more ticks than a farmer's dog in my book. Wonder Woman 84.
More ticks than my farmer dog. Yeehaw!
Why are ticks good?
I don't know. I've wondered about this review.
A bunch of bloodsuckers.
Ticks are a negative thing.
More ticks. Brilliant and had more ticks. I think it's like more interesting things than a farm.
I can understand it ticked more boxes. Maybe you could do some weird
maybe
play on words.
Look, he's got weird verbiage, all right?
It's a first draft comment.
184, which truly saddens and maddens me, the polar opposite. It has a script so weak it should be classified as highly vulnerable. A plot that has more holes than my kitchen colander, and characters about as believable as a career politician. I did love the opening island scene where the girl actress playing the young Diana was superb, and apparently did all her non-CGI stunts. But then it went downhill faster than an illiterate skier passing a warning cliff ahead sign.
What is this bozo?
I think it's Sandy Cheeks.
I won't go into detail over Wonder Woman 84's failing, as I have a bus to catch in a week, but I think I can reveal my favorite jaw-dropping line for the film without it being a spoiler. I want to be an apex predator. It certainly made me growl.
I loved his little similes and
yes
throughout.
Even if it didn't land all the time.
Yeah. Had more ticks
than a farmer's dog.
Farmer's dog.
It didn't land
Good?
like a
Negative?
parachutist jumping out of an airplane. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I guess. I mean, it works.
All right. The next one we have.
I'm just don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, it was brilliant and had more ticks than a farmer's dog, so it's a good thing if it has more ticks than a farmer's dog.
Maybe this is some saying we just aren't aware of.
I don't know. I mean, we're from the South.
I don't think anyone is aware of what the sayings mean, except him.
Anyways, back to Manor 96.
All I'm going to say is if Dad listens to this and says, oh, yeah, that's a saying we used to, I'm going to be really upset with you guys for leading me astray. That's all
We
I'm
didn't
saying.
know. I swear, Philly's always like this. You know, they always blaming us for things we don't know.
I'm not blaming you yet. It's only if it goes wrong.
All right. So Manor 96, 1 out of 10. Cats is a better movie. That's what it's titled.
Okay, I mean, by any standard, that can't possibly be
Well,
true.
no, actually, I think Cats is better than Woman 1984 because at least none of the cats.
Oh no!
Well, we don't know that.
Not on screen.
I'm just saying.
So we have.
It's a lot,
He goes on.
Okay.
Gal Gadot cannot act. Full stop. The script was atrocious. Nothing flowed. Best part of the movie are the supporting cast. And the best minute of this movie was the after credit scene. Do not waste your time.
Yeah, spoilers, Linda Carter is in the movie at the end.
Who's Linda Carter?
Like I just said, the original Wonder Woman actress.
Oh, okay. I already forgot.
She's like another Amazonian or a Themyscirian who's now living in the human world.
That's right.
Yeah.
She's like the original. Like she had the golden armor or something.
Yeah. Oh, that's where she got the armor from?
Yeah.
Now, one pro I did think of was, it's kind of cool, is that they have Wonder Woman swinging from lightning, which is a pretty awesome image.
Swinging from lightning. Wasn't that the lasso of truth?
Well, yeah, she's lassoing lightning and swinging through the sky,
Oh.
which is pretty metal.
It is kind of metal.
I mean, her dad is Zeus.
Is he Zeus in the movies? I can't remember.
I know in the comics her dad is Zeus.
Okay. Well, that would make sense why she's able to do
Because
that.
what
but-
happened was...
But regardless, it's a cool image.
There was one where her dad was Hades. So
Her dad's been everywhere. Her mom got around.
Well, I mean, her mom passed around a clay doll around.
Oh,
well, that's true.
Everybody made an offering. This has been a very filthy episode, inadvertently.
Well, she was made of clay or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, Diana was made of clay,
Yeah.
and what? Oh, all her
and
all
they
her
imbued
dads
it.
like added a little.
I guess.
Well, normally
something.
it-
What are they like? Carp? It's like swim over and like let
Well,
fly.
I think in the original Bill.
Like I'm trying to. This is scientific inquiry.
No, Billy. So, from Greek mythology, you
Yes.
know about the guy who made a statue. I think it was either a clay or
Pygmalion?
stone. Yeah, Pygmalion.
Right, it's where the Pygmalion
It's that,
effect.
basically, where they work together to create this statue, whoever, and they imbue life into it, like in a literal sense.
And so all the gods gave a little.
Maybe it depends.
I
on,
think it was just Zeus though.
it depends. Again, one of them they made Hades. I think it was the Justice
Okay.
League. So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Uh,
So carp analogy not accurate. It's
No.
More of a laying on hands.
Yes.
Imbuing with power.
Yes.
Okay, which not nearly as arresting of an image, personally, I think.
I like this one mainly because the title. A lot of the titles are just very good. Emily Gevertz, 1 out of 10 stars.
Wait, Illigaverts?
Emily
Okay.
Gevertz. Maybe let's try that. I don't know.
Like,
People are coming up with made up names and
that's
stuff.
the Swedish chef. Took over Jeffrey's.
1 out of 10 stars, titled "If You Don't Like Someone, Recommend Them This Movie." The first 5
That's
minutes
just cruel.
were somewhat entertaining, but right after you were hit with some cheesy dialogue, followed by a super weak action scenes set in the 80s, had I only known the whole movie was going to be like that. If you want to see the stunning Gal Gadot walking around in nice outfits, then this is your movie. Other than that, it is pure trash. Also, what was up with Wonder Woman's obsession with Steve? She's got to move on. Girl, you got to move on.
Girl, he dead.
I mean, in her defense, it was the first man she ever knew.
True.
She was on an island stuck with nothing but women. So
Yeah.
it's like a man's like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
Then we have Galt, 73.
Galt and Godot.
Yes.
I don't know what that is. I just thought I'd say it.
Okay, good. Thank you, Billy. Thank you for your input. 2 out of 10. Title definitely felt like 1984. The movie had the feel of 1984 because that's when superhero movies were terrible. Reminded me of Superman 3, Superman 4, and Supergirl.
Philistine.
Same terrible plot, horrible pacing, ridiculous villains. Patty Jenkins did a great Richard Lester impression.
Okay, good. Look, I'm not going to have this guy come on my podcast and besmirch the name of Christopher Reeves and Michael Keaton Batman, okay? Sure, corny, but they had heart, okay?
One thing, I don't think I grabbed one, was people who were like, Green Lantern, doesn't have to feel alone anymore, or like, this is worse than Green Lantern and stuff.
It's really bad then.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Ryan Reynolds has made half of his career out of making fun of that movie he was in, but...
yeah, I mean, I don't know, but people hate it on IMDb. Like, they are trashing it.
It sounds like a mess.
Yeah, it does. Going on, I just got a bunch of short ones, and then we'll get some real hitters. We have Malkana-892-41654, and he kind of does not.
At some point, this is like almost no point to reading the name. If they're robot
my sworn
names,
duty. 2 out of 10. Wonder Woman 1984 is so bad. The deleted scenes section of the Blu-ray version should include the entire movie.
I swear someone has made that joke before in the reviews.
Maybe.
Surprise me.
But I don't know.
But he did the Oscar Albert style of where the title runs into the review.
Well.
And we will talk about Oscar Albert.
Protege.
Kind of.
There must always be two.
All right.
The dark side
my
of
two
the Force.
best ones, and then I've got a title one that we can end off with.
Okay.
And then a small note. We're back to Google. We have Amber Jones. 1 out of 5. I tried my best to not do spoilers. Reasons to hate it. It's a ripoff of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
What? No. There's a parallel I did not see coming.
So yeah.
I'm just thinking here, like, how?
See, that's what I was talking about. That's another.
Does someone wish for food and it falls out of the sky?
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? Well, like the.
Well, no. Cloudy. I know Cloudy and Chance of Meatballs. It's a science project that goes awry and makes food rain. But I'm talking about in Wonder Woman. Which part?
Oh, I don't know.
Is there food that comes out of the sky at one point, or is it the fact
clarify?
that
No.
good intentions went awry?
I guess that.
I mean, that is a
No, but it's
tenuous connection.
It's a direct ripoff, Billy.
Okay, well,
It's a con.
is that a con?
Mm-hmm. Well, they stole it.
Okay.
A rip-off of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
That masterpiece.
Those animals.
I just remember the original book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that
It
one.
was 15 pages long.
I still loved it as a child.
It is
though.
a good book. It's just, it
I know
rains
it is.
food,
It's just-
which would be horrible in reality. I mean, no one would starve, but
So that was just number one.
disgusting.
We got 10 of these. 2, Chris Pine's character would never jump to the future and act like such a fool.
How do you know? Have you met anyone like that?
I mean, there's.
I don't know. He would just never jump to the future and act like a fool.
I mean, he is a fish out of water. It's kind of a role reversal.
3, Wonder Woman thinks it's NBD when she sees Chris Pine's character.
No big deal.
Yeah. If you know Wonder Woman, she'd never lose what she lost in this movie, ever, period. Not even up for discussion. I don't know. This person's very vague.
Her powers?
Yes. Okay.
But the whole plot is the wish takes it, so she would. It's not like she was like she let herself go and then got like fat and weak.
She did, all right? This person is
This
like...
isn't the Wonder Woman I know.
Yeah.
She would never let a wish take her power against her
She
will.
would have punched the witch in the face and said no.
Yeah. 5, Christian Wiig is my... And that's with 2 eyes. Is it with 2 eyes?
It is with 2 eyes.
Oh, weird.
It's weird.
I never knew that. Is my girl, but her first character wasn't believable or even close. That should have been cast as a younger girl. But the end character was perfect for Christian Wiig.
So she doesn't like
nerdy.
Doesn't like her as herself.
Yes.
But when she's like a 7-foot tall cheetah woman made out of CGI, that's when Kristen Wiig. See,
Yeah.
maybe he's cracked the code.
Yes.
Kristen Wiig is better when she's not human and not actually present. He may have, Kristen Wiig, this robot or whoever this is,
Yeah.
may have some tips for you.
He expands upon it. I'm shocked it's not rated R. There are very graphic killing scenes that even shock me. Plus, the Christian Wiig cat demon is traumatizing.
Christian Wiig hag demon?
So
Yeah.
I guess that wasn't his point.
I
then.
thought it said hag demon. I was like, what? It's another transformation I'm not aware of?
Well, it is pretty terrifying, that part where Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, falls out of the sky holding 2 children and just like smashes into the ground with them and rolls. And they're dummies, thankfully. They've morphed into dummies at that point. But like, I don't care how strong Wonder Woman is. She like basically falls on the kids onto a hard road. I think it's in like Africa or wherever. And she's,
So let me get this straight. Not only she practiced questionable degeneracy, as mentioned before, starts with an R. She also kills children by slamming them into the ground.
She's like Hancock. Will Smith movie.
Is this our hero? Is there some other hero we're not looking at in this movie?
I don't know. I guess.
She's a child murderer as well.
Is Maxwell Lord actually the good guy? Because he's trying to give everybody wishes?
It's either Maxwell Lord or Christian Wiig, and I can't decide who.
I mean, Christian Wiig, she beat up someone that was trying to molest her, so that makes her at least a little bit better than Wonder Woman, who's murdering children and taking advantage of people's bodies.
Does Christian Wiig murder anybody in the movie? Do we know?
I don't know.
Yeah,
she sounds like a better hero.
Because she doesn't have a kill count. She's at least better than Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
so. A kill count that includes.
I mean, they try to tell you the kids are fine, but like I saw how hard she hit and rolled. There's no way.
Yeah, the shockwaves alone would have turned their insides into jelly.
Yeah, she would have snapped their necks by accident. Yeah. Squeezed.
You just can't do that. She would have Spider-Man Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
All right.
We have more. We can keep saying that.
Moving on to 7. Wow, with the very obvious seductive camera angle shots. I can't wait to see what spin-off clips comes from this movie.
Sure. Okay.
8, I thought this movie was about her childhood. 9, this movie should have been about her childhood.
It's a sequel.
No, it should have been a sequel prequel. One of those. Classic.
This person just doesn't understand how anything
like the old
works.
Disney kid, but they never stopped it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 10, terrible acting, almost interesting story, but too laughable at the amount of plot holes. Note, I was cringing happy for the first 15 minutes.
Cringing happy.
Yes, he was cringing happy for the first 15 minutes as we get to watch the ridiculous American Ninja Warriors meet Star Wars meets endurance horse racing. Like, okay, I'm on board, but the child Diana competing in the bogus race is hard to get on board.
Okay. But he was cringe happy.
Yes, he was cringing happy.
Okay.
All right. My last official review. We have Adriana Melendez, 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah, this movie was not as good as the first, but also the first movie was not as good as the series, well, that's what I've heard. That's a pretty good remake. I mean, it's decent, because it's also not like it's the new Mulan, because that totally sucked. Anyway.
I mean, fair points all around.
I mean, a lot of movies don't suck in comparison to the new Mulan movie.
From what I can understand in this review, I don't think I disagree.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, the acting was good and ... I just realized I need to watch it again. So the main, as in lion mane, plot is good. So the hair plot is good. But I just don't get why they would put 2 villains that at first seemed so innocent, because they were. But when they turn evil, in brackets, I ran out of things to say, but I'll try. And all that power coming from a small rock, it's not really believable. But again, it's a movie. But what I like from it is that instead of fighting Max, she talked him out of it and told him everything that happened outside of the office. And that all of it was because of him. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. Warning, spoiler alert, that the little rock is powerful and can grant you any wish you want. So Diana wished for Steve back, and he came back.
There is a backspace button on the keyboard.
But little did they know.
No, it's writing in real. It cannot stop.
Yeah, that if you wish for something, then the rock would take away something more important. Anyway, yeah, that villain Max, well, he might have wished to have the rock's power, and he went around granting everyone a wish. So what I told you earlier about what happened when you wish for one, so the word was a wreck. So yeah, on the other villain, Wonder Woman actually fought with her, and it was fine, but it was too short of a fight.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
One of those reviews where I end up learning less.
Information is taken from your notes.
So she's like Naruto. She talked the main bad guy down.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. To me, sometimes that just feels like a lazy way to end.
I'm going to be queen of the Amazons. Believe it.
I guess if there's enough, like... I feel like that works better when there's more of a history between the two characters and they have some level... Because if you've got this evil plan and you're in the middle of doing it, someone spouting platitudes at you quietly while leaning in a corner...
What was his evil plan?
Someone with missiles?
What was
That's the thing. I can't figure out what he's trying to do.
I think no, I don't even know. What is Maxwell Lord? I mean, I thought he was trying to, like, make his oil business profitable again.
That's the thing. He wants a better business, and they get sidetracked with becoming the genie from Aladdin. It's like,
and he's not even blue.
Happen? Yeah.
He should have been blue.
He's no Will Smith, partly because he's awake, but...
Okay, so the last one, the one we might talk about. So 4 out of 10. I just want to read the title because I thought it was funny. So bad that I almost walked out of my own house. Which is very good. His review is pretty much all the same as the others, but... And then I found this glorious review. It's too long for us to do on the podcast. It's by, Rohit Bhattacharyan 007. And it's all cap, it's long, and it's rambly.
Okay.
And so it might be fun to do. So I went around to our local alleyways and dumpsters trying to find Oscar Albert. I did eventually find him and asked him what his thoughts were on Wonder Woman.
Yes.
He didn't give me a note. He did say this.
Did he ask for a typewriter?
Yes, he always asks for a
I was wondering where Uncle Albert was. I hadn't seen him in a while.
Yeah, he's out there somewhere. He says he hadn't got time around to it yet.
He's our lovable
at least that's what I got from him. He didn't actually say that. He said, you would have to be an automaton drone with an ulcer pachyderm heart to not understand the blatant propaganda-filled lie from that fat cat 1% Hollywood extremist group. So that's the official note
he says that no matter what you ask him, he says that.
Yeah, he always leads on with that, but then he mimes something, and he said he'll get to it later. So I don't know. Who knows at this point?
Now, did you get the chip in him so we can track him?
Partially.
Okay.
Like I got some of it in, but he just started scratching at it.
Okay.
And
well, we're gonna have to find him again.
I thought we gave you a cone as well.
Look, he's really wily. All right.
I didn't expect it to go well, honestly, but.
Last time I did manage to get him, but he dislocated. I don't even know how he did it, but he dislocated every part of his arm and then ran away. So.
Yeah, he's tricky, but. If he gets hungry enough, he will come back, and we'll...
We leave a nice, juicy typewriter out for him.
Alrighty. So, I don't know whether we should delve into our review, or if we wanted to try...
Oh yeah, your new segment. We forgot to bring it up.
Birth our new segment into the world at the beginning of the new year.
It could be good, it could be bad, and we may never speak of it again. But.
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to... hold counsel with the Plot-O-Tron. I still don't know if we're going to call it that.
The Plot-O-Tron.
Yeah,
yes.
he's our new special guest. So we have a couple of special guests: Oscar Albert, Minhud Dorji, and finally the Plot-O-Tron, who's going to help us kind of parse out some of the more intricate details of the plot.
He's an intelligent AI that can help tell us about movies.
Because he's seen them all.
Yeah,
he actually watches them. So
he's like Ultron, but very movie specific, and thankfully has no way of creating his own body.
Oh yeah.
Although I wish he did talk like James Spader, that would be nice. But
or James Corden.
He also is a demo.
James Corden.
Yeah.
Super intelligent.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to do that eventually.
Yeah. That's a movie that came out recently. So yeah, Plot-O-Tron is a demo, unfortunately, and I can't figure out if it's you get a certain amount of words every week, or if once you use up those words, Plot-O-Tron just dies.
Self-destruct. My final mission is complete.
It's like that movie with that killed Eddie Murphy's career, where there's a tree and the leaves on it symbolize the words he has left. He has 1,000 words he can say, and if the tree runs out of leaves, he dies. So he has to think about what he says. And I don't know if the Plot-O-Tron works like that, where it can only say so many things and then dies. But let's see. Service? You can to get more, but I don't want to give the Plot-O-Tron any money. I don't want it to grow stronger. Okay, so I'm going to write what happens in Wonder Woman 1984 ? Complete text. It's calculating.
Right.
It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear. And it absolutely will not stop. Ever. Until you are dead.
I think that's it. Let's see. What happens in Wonder Woman 1984? The new Wonder Woman sequel doesn't get much of a new start. There is no prologue, but Diana does travel to the past to prepare the plot.
Oh.
Okay. No, she doesn't want to live in the past to try and prevent the First World War. Instead, she has to save the present and her own past self. Why? Because Diana has a little thing called the Diana Alchemist in her dungeon, in quotes. As Wonder Woman herself explains, it is an anti-drone weapon to protect the world in the future, and she's running out of time too, and it cuts off there.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack there.
So I didn't know there was time travel involved, but
I guess it makes sense.
It wouldn't surprise me. We have wishes, and then we have time travel. But just mash it together.
So she realized, and some of this may be actually in the Patty Jenkins extended cut, which goes on until the heat death of the universe. but so we know that officially she does have a dungeon, so we kind of know what she's into.
yeah.
Is that where she puts?
But she has a little thing called the Diana Alchemist.
Maybe that's
in quotes in her dungeon.
Yeah.
Is that where handsome guy ends up?
Yeah, it becomes a Diana Alchemist, whatever that is, in her dungeon.
So I can't parse out exactly. So she's got to save the present and her own past self.
Mm-hmm. So from the power of Maxwell Lord, is he causes all the world wars. So maybe that's it. So we finally found out Maxwell Lord's evil plot.
Mm-hmm.
Maxwell Lord is using his wish power to cause the world wars in the past. So World War I and World War II.
They already happened.
Yeah, but
So she's got to go
them.
back to save herself back then.
Yeah.
And also somehow save herself in the future by doing so.
Right.
Apparently drone weapons are involved.
Yeah, but she also has. So the Diana Alchemist is an anti-drone weapon.
Those handsome guy had it.
Yeah, I feel like handsome guy's just down there in his latex gimp suit, waiting for his master. Next to an anti-drone weapon, which
Okay.
so I guess maybe Maxwell Lord.
He's on an anti-air flak cannon.
Because if you think about it, a drone like 80 years ago would have been a weapon of mass destruction.
They had like the beginnings of drone technology, at least in World War II.
But I'm saying like in World War One,
Right.
we have
That's
biplanes and Sopwith
So Maxwell
camels,
Lord is sending like
drones to
fight
cause
World War I.
wars. Yeah, and she's got in her love dungeon. She's got, which confusingly named the Diana Alchemist, is an anti-drone weapon. She's got to take to the past to save herself, and apparently there is no prologue.
Right. There's no prologue.
Which I don't know what the whole American Ninja Warrior thing is then. But
That's not a prologue.
okay, so I'm almost willing to give it a pro here for this interesting time travel plot.
Yeah. You know, they kind
future
of
drones.
end-gamed it.
Yeah. Which time travel alone kind of overdone, but the whole drone angle and starting wars is kind of interesting.
And a latex gimp and an anti-air gun is also an interesting image.
Yeah, I was not going to give it points for that.
Why not?
I
wonder if she wants I wonder if she wants to fill her dungeon with more handsome guys.
maybe keeping HG in
She has surgery.
dungeon in quotes.
She has surgery done on all of them to make them look like Chris Pine.
All right, well,
What a horror movie
it says I have. Now, there's a. I mean, it would kind of be like The Boys, but like someone with superpowers is a serial killer,
Yeah.
and you have to stop them. You know, there's an angle there. Like I said, this podcast is just us gradually generating good movie ideas, and that's one of them. So yeah, I think the Plot-O-Tron, it's saying we have 9,501 weekly characters left. So if we don't just generate 10,000 words worth of idiotic paragraphs, then we should be good to go. The Plot-O-Tron will not succumb to death and force us to revive him by subscribing. Okay, well, thank you, Plot-O-Tron.
Maybe that's how that Eddie Murphy movie should have ended. It should have ended with a guy walking up with, "Hey, you want to renew your subscription to talk more?"
Renew your subscription to Eddie Murphy. The world has a subscription to Eddie Murphy, and if it runs out, he dies. But you can bring him back. Okay, well, at the beginning of this year, I was like, we're going to try to streamline this podcast. Be a more well-oiled machine.
It didn't work. We just
Here
ran.
we are, freaking almost an hour and 30 minutes, and we've done less in the episode. But we have to review Wonder Woman 1984. And first, I got to read off all the cons and pros and pro-cons. Cons. It's too influenced by Paul Blart Mall Cop. Patty Jenkins tried to make an ongoing film / the longest film. As Jake said, it would have extended to the heat death of the universe. She should have shortened her intros, although according to the Plot-O-Tron, the prologue is a lie, so I don't know who to believe.
Pumps in like hallucinogenics in the air. You're like, what am I watching?
Then there's Handsome Guy's Plight, # Justice for Handsome Guy. We've already skirted with our self-imposed PG-13 rating, so I will try not to say much more than that. They let Jared Leto, as the Joker, be the script doctor.
I mean, that goes without saying. He's been stuck in the Joker role.
Yeah.
Like, probably even before they gave him the role, so I'm not sure.
That's why they're bringing him back in the Justice League Snyder cut. I've heard they're going to actually include him.
They're going to clip him in with a green screen.
It's really they're trying to give him an outlet. He won't stop mailing people garbage, so they're like, we got to distract him.
He's still in character. It reminds me of that Kevin Mikey episode where they there's the one character. His name is what's his name?
Which one?
He was the big guy with the blue hair.
Oh, he's supposed to be like Goku. I can't remember their name. It's been so long.
Yeah.
But I know who you're talking
they canceled the TV show they're on mid-shot, so they never said cancel, and so he's like out in the street still.
And it was a cut. Yeah.
He's still acting as the main villain. That's kind of what Jared Leto.
Yeah.
It wasn't that was kind of their Wonderful Life episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jared Leto they letting him be the script doctor. It's a very bad decision, but explains a lot. And cheetahs are not apex predators. Nowhere close. Not necessarily a fault of the movie. It's just should have had a better explanation for why she's
a fault of the script.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the character is the cheetah. I guess if they had their druthers, they would have picked a bigger cat. But I don't know. Then pros, it has good trailer music. She swings on lightning, which is a cool image. And there's an interesting time travel plot involving starting wars or exacerbating them via drone technology.
Yeah, making them worse, I think, is more.
Yeah. Oh, shoot, I forgot I had way more cons.
Yeah,
okay, cons part 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, the bad guys are not punished. It ripped off Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs somehow.
That's a big sin.
Yet,
right there.
I guess we could have asked the Plot-O-Tron, but I don't know. And adding to his already horrific ordeal, Handsome Guy is being kept in a dungeon, in quotes. And then pro-cons, the movie turns you against your friends by making you obsessed with pointing out greed.
Right, and selfishness.
Yeah.
And then they'll gaslight you, say they're not, specifically.
And then trivia, shamans are employed by Hollywood, and Chris Pine is a phantom. More of a statement, really, not really a con or a pro.
Something to keep in mind.
Yeah. And with that in mind, we have to give this film a review.
Yes.
I mean, how am I going to rate when the hero is so lovable? A child murderer.
Oh no!
I mean,
I'm going to have a lot of editing to do with this episode.
It's gonna, like 90% of it's just going to be bleeps.
and the fact that nothing seems to be properly resolved and bad guys don't get punished, and it's just...
Well, it wasn't really their fault, you know? They were misunderstood.
It seems like a giant waste of time.
I just wanted to be a good dad and have a good business.
I think one of the biggest cons
Death Genie
that we didn't put down is that it's 2 hours and 30 minutes.
I only watch Lord of the Rings.
It can be that length, but it's got to be worth it to be that length.
There's like a huge stretch in the middle where like nothing action related happens. It's like
Maybe
an
that-
hour.
I know.
Like,
It's barely. People say it's barely an action movie. So.
yeah.
I mean,
It's just a mess. It goes back to, it's a first draft movie that they didn't put enough thought into, and it turned Wonder Woman into someone who has to go around the neighborhood and inform them that she's moving in.
and The worst part of this movie is that they ripped off Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs.
I know. I'm beloved.
Maybe the time travel is where the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs happens. Maybe Maxwell Lord causes food to rain down as part of his evil plan.
Who knows? It could be.
And then Wonder Woman smashes a child to the pavement in anger, stuff like that.
So does anyone have a review?
Well, it's pretty bad overall. And I don't know if a full, round number. I was thinking about getting it 20%, but I think I might give it 19.84. So
19. I was
No
wondering
factorals.
I was wondering how to work in 84 into this movie.
Are we all going to do that?
no.
No. Well, I keep looking at this, and the only thing I really like is that she swings on lightning, and that Gal Gadot is pleasant to look at.
If they had a movie where she just swings on lightning for 2 hours and 30 minutes, would you watch it?
I mean, I'm not going to say no. I mean, I might need a little more,
Stimulation.
info, but sure. Put that sucker on. No. But yeah, there's just too much garbage and, I hate to use this word, problematic stuff in the film.
Just weird stuff, man.
Yeah. I'm almost wanting to give it as much its length converted to points. So 2.30.
So 2.30?
Yeah.
What is this review? Alright, now you must include a decimal.
6.66.
Alright, then we got the mark of the beast. I think we got grade.
It did have more ticks than a barnyard dog. I forgot to correlate that. But
Yeah.
But how many ticks does a barnyard dog have on average?
Yeah, that's a good point. I was wondering. I was actually thinking about Googling that, but it was like they're not going to have that information.
Well, maybe they have, because Google has everything. Let me see.
So
How
how
many
it's up to 9.6.
9.6. Okay.
How many ticks is on a farm?
A barnyard. Or
Oh.
no. A farmer's dog, right? Did I say it wrong?
How many ticks is on a barnyard
I think
dog?
it's farmer's dog. Let me
Okay,
go back.
Whatever. I still don't know if that's a good thing or not. But
It's on a farmer's dog.
More ticks than on a farmer's dog, yeah.
Okay, so farmer dog creates recipes that are simple in nature. Ticks, pests, and parasites. The pet owner. Yep, I'm not seeing any concrete numbers, so maybe the number is elusive.
What we don't need is numbers, but we need the saying. Not seeing anything. Farmer's dog, fresh human grade dog food delivery.
keep finding food. Put advertising for
farmers and farmer dogs at risk of Lyme disease.
Well, yeah, especially if they're covered in ticks.
On the farm, say no to ticks and yes to chicken.
Okay, well, the world will never know what that meant. But so what you said, the movie got a 9.6?
Yes.
Okay, so that's our review. Now we need to see what the experts in brackets thought.
The ones who get paid by big corporations.
We want to become that.
Look, I'm not saying that the critics aren't bought off at times. I just feel like in the case of the DC movies, you're barking up the wrong tree.
I don't think DC can afford it.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of times they make a lot of money, so...
Wonder Woman 1984 struggles with sequel overload, but still offers enough vibrant escapism to satisfy fans of the franchise and its classic central character, who's now ruined forever, honestly. And the critics gave it a 60%, right on the nose, and the audience gave it a 74%.
Wow.
Really disappointed in the audience.
I feel like maybe a result of being cooped up in a house for 18 months, but...
I think in the end, we won. Because we didn't see it.
Yeah, I think you're correct there. But the critics are technically the winners.
critics won.
They're very kind to this one. See, that's the thing. Like, they're...
60%.
They aren't completely heartless. They're kind to trash like 1984. So
Which we have not seen.
yeah, so maybe it is better than we think. But I'm operating on the assumption that it is not. So that wraps up the very first episode of 2021.
Yeah, look how short it is. We said we wanted to make it shorter.
We are going to get this thing down somehow, so I have to spend 3 weeks editing. And I won't bore you with the details, but you can look down in the description to find our deets, and you can email us, and you can support us on Patreon if you like, and We want to give a shout out to our current Patreon subscriber.
He describes his Patreon.
We have a guy that just he just looks through Patreon. It describes all the different profiles on it to us. We're wasting money. I don't know why we're doing it, but yeah, that basically wraps things up for now. And I feel like I'll end by figuring out how did Wonder Woman 1984 rip off Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs?
Oh, great. Let's see.
We're asking the Plot-O-Tron. This is not.
What happened, man?
This is not very helpful.
What did he say?
Gal Gadot is back as Diana Prince, and Chris Pine has returned as Steve Trevor in the third movie that's wrong, in the third movie of the Wonder Woman franchise. But how did two big screen movies about a superhero just a year apart, also not true, from each other wind up being just like each other? And this is it's in brackets, picture Warner Brothers. So it wanted a picture there, but could not put one. It's a story as old as comic books, filmmaking, and sequels. What connects the biggest superhero franchises? In 2018, Black Panther and Captain America Civil War hit the big screens. But in 2008, the first ever Spider. So, not much info in there about Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Even the plot.
I think what it's saying is that Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball and Wonder Woman are in the same universe. They're somehow connected.
I guess there's...
Although
Plot-O-Tron does not know.
It seems to believe that Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball 1 is a superhero movie that came out a year ago. So
it doesn't say any. It doesn't. It just ignored my question and gave me fake facts about Wonder Woman.
Or maybe just that.
Yeah. The Plot-O-Tron. Why would anyone pay for this service?
I don't know.
All right. Well, I've been your host, Billy Greer.
I've been Jake Greer.
I've been Luke Greer.
We'll talk at you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.